Hello, everybody. Neo Lifer here. I'm setting a scene first so you guys can see where I am. This is a cafe across the road from where I'm living right now. This is just a couple of minutes away from the beach, and it's a wonderful lifestyle here, for sure. So today's topic is a very simple but very important topic. So I want you guys to take this topic seriously and follow me on this one, because this is probably the most important preparation you should have to invest in NIO share price. Okay, here you can see I'm getting ice water to go together with a simple Americano. This is how I test every single cafe when I visit worldwide. Wherever I go, I order the simplest coffee they have to see what's the skill of the barista. That's the easiest way because everything else more complicated will get masking the skill. The simpler you are, harder it is to make. Unusual taste, very unusual taste. I will ask them later what beans they use and how they made this coffee. But it tastes very unusual. It has a very sweet note for of all the notes I was expecting. I didn't expect sweetness. Not bad, actually not bad. Chocolatey, the best way. It's like a dark chocolate. Has a very sweet hint. Okay, now back to Neo. The number one preparation you must make when you invest in Neo share price is actually to prepare for worst case scenario. So what is the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario I want to lay out here in the next 5 minutes for you first. Then I will explain to you what you can do about it and what's your best way to prepare yourself for it. This is not the same video as I made about resilience. We're talking about realistic assessments. So financially speaking, NEO in theory is in an incredibly vulnerable position because price war by BYD. On top of that, you have the situation with the export limitation. And then the expansion of NEO's ecosystem is very expensive and very time consuming. All this is actually roadblocks for the actual survival of the company. I'm a realist. I'm an investor, therefore I'm an extremely realistic person. I'm not a person who is going to tell you what you want to hear. Everything I have ever made a video about in NEO is telling you what I think, what might happen, but not a single thing I've ever said is about what I want you to think that you want to hear so that I'm going to get subscribers. Because getting subscriber is not going to earn me any money. That's pointless. But getting subscribers, high quality subscribers, is the way to increase shareholder base for NEO. That is the whole thinking behind it. Okay? You have to understand the quality I'm producing is of the highest quality you can find anywhere about investing in companies. So basically, this is a one gigantic deep dive over the next few years into one specific companies. And I make the video in the way that anybody with any educational background can understand. I could easily talk high finance, not a problem for me. I've done high finance for 10 years of my life in Singapore. So if I just want to talk with you about high finance, I can bring in all the jargons, talk about the formulas and all that stuff, but it's going to alienate 99.99% of the investors out there. Because in today's world, people don't invest based on numbers, invest based on emotions, expectations, and um, and the way how psychology is influencing the share market is stronger than ever before. So I have to make all my videos from a psychological perspective, not from a financial perspective. This is also the reason why I make ultra realistic videos. In case you wonder, why don't I use an editor? I could easily hire an editor in the Philippines and edit my videos, make them look sleek. No, I don't want to do that because I want you to experience the real investor's life so that you understand that everything is raw, everything is realistic, everything is authentic. Authenticity is the only selling point I have on this channel. I have nothing else for sale. Being authentic is the only thing I have going for me because I don't have anything else going for me. I don't have the budget. I don't have the manpower. I don't have the preparation ability. I only have authenticity to offer. So now let's talk about the NEO worst case scenario for the NEO company as a company, not the share price, but as a company. The worst case scenario is actually that the major shareholders like Abu Dhabi government funds stop funding the company because some new information comes out that indicates that NIO has done the same thing what BYD did, for example, stuffing the channel or destroying the suppliers and is behind in bank financing, any of those stuff. If those information comes out, NIO will get into trouble because NIO has actually a pristine reputation among the real investors, not the short sellers, not the hedge fund managers, but the actual long-term investors, like the Abu Dhabi government fund. So I think in the long term, NIO will be gradually becoming a vehicle owned by diverse uh, mutual funds and investment firms uh, like BlackRock or the government fund of Singapore, GIC, and the Norwegian fund is also a very good player. And actually, I'm surprised Norwegians are not in this game yet. By right, Norwegians should be new. So if Norwegians decide to get in, there will be a couple billions easily. If Singapore decides to get in, there will be a couple billions. Those people don't play small numbers. So the most realistic outcome for NEO share price is actually an overnight sudden boost on the upside because somebody with a lot of deep pocket has decided to enter the game because now the valuation is highly attractive. NEO has already lost so much money through the investment period of the last 10 years. If anybody invests in the equity of the company now, you're getting a disproportionate amount of percentage of the business for relative little money. So keep that in mind. So that is actually my most likely scenario that before NEO actually turns profitable, some large international institutional investors is going to see that we're at the bottom of the pricing cycle caused by the BYD's slaughtering of everybody else. And NEO is the gem among the debris that is being caused by BYD. So if I can convince anyone who works for those funds to watch my video and spread the word and bring this to the right people, don't be surprised one day somebody just suddenly decide to put $2 billion into this business, either through private placement or through open market operation. So I'll give you a very practical example. Yesterday, I was at my friend's cafe in the city center of Hua Hin, and I was there drinking coffee, talking to another friend. And then there came in a mother-son combo from United States. And then I started a conversation with them, and turns out the son just started working at one of the most prestigious investment banking firm in United States. Right now, this is his gap year, and he's doing his final uh, how do I say, work trip before he starts his job as a junior analyst with one of the most prestigious firms in United States. I'm not going to name the names because I don't want to destroy his career just in case NEO goes to zero. So I told him he should pitch the idea of NEO to his superiors as the one of his first analyst reports. So he said he was going to think about it. He's a super bright young man, 22 years old. You know who you are. You're probably watching me right now, right? And he shared the same first name initial as me. That's all I can say. I'm not going to out him at all. He's so bright that I wouldn't be surprised that in 10 years he might make partner. So if guys like this watch my video or meet me in real life, start watching my video, you suddenly have done $100 million come in out of the blue. And there's no way any AI can pick up on that. This is one of those important things. So another interesting experience I had yesterday was talking to a business owner. So this is a very old business owner who's interested in share investing because it's in a passive investment stage. I talked with him about NEO for about 25 minutes. After that, he was pretty convinced that he should invest the money. He's a business owner. He has owned hundreds of businesses in his life. So therefore, you can have overnight someone putting three, four, $5 million into the shares, and nobody knows why. And the truth is, the multiplier effect of a platform like YouTube is underestimated by most investors. So this is the reason I'm making those videos. This is the reason I'm making this particular video telling you the realistic outcome of this share price in the next few years going forward. But I promise you, I'm talking about the worst case scenario for NIO. So the worst case scenario for NIO, one is through investigative accounting. They find out that they are doing something fishy. Therefore, NIO lose their reputation with international institutional shareholders. Another worst case scenario is that through lengthy vendor financing period, the NIO's supply chain collapse. And if the supply chain collapse for NIO, everything collapses because NIO doesn't have a lot of cars in stock, unlike BYD. But I think that is very unlikely because NIO's supply chain is completely integrated together with the main manufacturing hub. I have not gone there to visit yet, but for my next China trip, I plan actually to visit the factory to see how everything's integrated. I will use my channel to get some leverage so that maybe I can get an extended factory tour, not the standard factory tour that you most of people have seen before. So I don't think that will happen either. However, I don't think NIO is gonna collapse its own supply chain. I really don't think so, because NIO doesn't have a high volume business, unlike BYD. So theoretically, it does not make any sense for NIO to collapse its own supply chain. You can only squeeze your supply chain for free credit when the volume is big enough. When the volume is not big enough, there's no reason to do that because you're just cutting into your own flesh. So what else could go wrong? What else could go wrong is hostile takeover. In the case of a hostile takeover, we as shareholders gonna get a very low ball offer. I will be very honest with you. If someone make a hostile takeover, make an offer today, they're gonna probably offer $7, $8 max per share, and the management has to bring the vote to the shareholders, and it's gonna distract the management. It's gonna make people go away from the actual mission, spend not enough time on the mission instead of spending time on entertaining such a hostile takeovers. So that's another thing. Then we have the most likely scenario is the friendly merger and takeover. And the ideal partner for such a business is actually like Apple. That will be the ideal partner. However, if Apple is not available, Geely might be available. If Geely is not available, maybe Great Wall is available. Who knows? Or even in the last attempt to gain market share, maybe BYD is available for a merger and acquisition deal. Who knows? But the most likely scenario is the company is actually staying independent. And if the company stays independent, continue raise money from shareholders, or finally turn cash flow positive, net cash flow positive by end of this year, if that's possible, that would be fantastic. But they are probably going to post a profit by end of the year anyway. Whether they turn cash flow positive by end of the year, I'm not 100% sure. Other than that, the investment phase in NIO is almost over. We are at a similar stage to Amazon in 2003, 2004, where all the heavy duty infrastructure investment has been done, and then they just leverage the heck out of it. So the same thing goes for NIO. If you Google the NIO power map, you're going to see that NIO has already the largest charging station network in China, and of course, the only functioning extensive swapping station in the world with almost 4,000 stations. And by end of this year, they want to go to 5,000 stations in China. And if the cooperation with CATL goes well, it's going to be 50,000 swap stations around China, with 40 different models come onto the market from different companies that support the swap standard. And I believe that new swapping standard is based on the existing swapping standard of all the patents created by NIO. And therefore, it makes sense for CATL to take over all the power stations, but pay a royalty fee to NIO, therefore complete the expectation I always had as a shareholder. This company ultimately become a royalty and design company and software company, not a hardware company. And the first step they can commercialize is actually the power station. And as in my last video you have watched, which was actually filmed a month ago, the those power stations are opened together with the most popular NIO users together, not company employees. So you can see how they build a brand, how they create a synergy effect between the owners, the employees, and the entire ecosystem. And last but not least, I want to add something that most people don't know outside of China is that NIO's power station are actually owned. Some of them are actually owned by external operators. They actually sold in packages different power stations to external capital suppliers. Therefore, NIO is just the operator. NIO is not the actual capital spender for the expensive swapping stations. So keep all that in mind. And once you have evaluated all the likely scenarios, you will come to the same conclusion as me that NIO at today's share price is one of the greatest investment opportunity of all time, similar to Amazon 2002, 2003, Apple 1998, and what else can I say? Or SoftBank a few years ago. Yeah, there was a time SoftBank got squashed and trading at 30% book value. Yeah, similar to that. So I could go on and on with examples, but ultimately, this is probably the greatest growth story of all time that has not been discovered by majority of the investors yet. And that's the reason you and me, we need to together grow this channel and influence more and more people to at least take a look at this share so that they have the opportunity to investigate for themselves, to understand, to study, and also use all the information available that I provide here on this channel to make an informed, logical, rational decision. And I'm very certain anybody with half a brain cell into investing after study all these things extensively will come to exactly the conclusion as you and me that this is the one the greatest investment opportunity of all time, that 100 US dollars NEO share price is absolutely inevitable. I repeat, it is absolutely inevitable in a couple of years, maybe in 7 to 10 years, we're going to look at NEO at $100 share price without additional share dilution. With additional share dilution, probably lower, but bigger market cap. This is a $1 trillion company in the making. And right now, anybody can come in and buy it for less than 10 billion. This is the deal of the century. I wish I have all that money. If I'm a fund manager, a real fund manager, I would deploy at least 1% of my fund into this company as a great way to have exposure to the Chinese EV market, to the global EV market, to the renewable energy market, to the um, uh, to the energy storage market, to the electricity arbitrage market. You can name so many, smart home, smart car market, smart ecosystem market, all that stuff. All this is associated with NEO right now. And on top of that, you got the AI, self-driving, robo taxi that they can run anywhere with the NEO World system. Yeah, NEO World model. I think that's what they call it. So, in summary, spread the word about this channel so that enough informed investors can get on board so that we can get the share price to $100 faster than anybody else can. All right. My coffee is getting cold actually. Let's see. No, perfect. It's the perfect temperature for drinking right now. All right. Final panning shot, and I'm signing out. See you in the next video. Bye.